Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The act of taking and printing photographs. The occupation of taking and printing photographs or making movies. The process of producing images of objects on photosensitive surfaces. The act of taking and printing photographs. Visual representation as by photography or painting. Visual imagery. Visual representation as by photography or painting. A commercial or industrial enterprise and the people who constitute it. He bought his brother's business. Incidental activity performed by an actor for dramatic effect. His business with the cane was hilarious. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. He's not in my line of business. Business concerns collectively. Government and business could not agree. Customers collectively. The activity of providing goods and services involving financial and commercial and industrial aspects. Computers are now widely used in business. An immediate objective. Gossip was the main business of the evening. A rightful concern or responsibility. It's none of your business. The volume of commercial activity. Business is good today. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. I can't follow your line of reasoning. A slight depression or fold in the smoothness of a surface. His face has many lines. Mechanical system in a factory whereby an article is conveyed through sites at which successive operations are performed on it. A connected series of events or actions or developments. Historians can only point out those lines for which evidence is available. The road consisting of railroad track and roadbed. A conceptual separation or distinction. There is a narrow line between sanity and insanity. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A conductor for transmitting electrical or optical signals or electric power. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. He's not in my line of business. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Draw a line. Often plural, a means of communication or access. Lines of communication were set up between the two firms. The descendants of one individual. His entire lineage has been warriors. Space for one line of print, 1 column wide and 1/14 inch deep, used to measure advertising. A short personal letter. Drop me a line when you get there. A telephone connection. Be in line with, form a line along. Trees line the riverbank. The maximum credit that a customer is allowed. A particular kind of product or merchandise. A nice line of shoes. A pipe used to transport liquids or gases. A pipeline runs from the wells to the seaport. A commercial organization serving as a common carrier. Acting in conformity. In line with. A formation of people or things one behind another. The line stretched clear around the corner. A formation of people or things one beside another. The line of soldiers advanced with their bayonets fixed. A fortified position, especially one marking the most forward position of troops. They attacked the enemy's line. A length, straight or curved, without breadth or thickness, the trace of a moving point. A mark that is long relative to its width. He drew a line on the chart. A single frequency, or very narrow band, of radiation in a spectrum. A spatial location defined by a real or imaginary unidimensional extent. Cover the interior of. Line the gloves. Fill plentifully. Line one's pockets. In games or sports, a mark indicating positions or bounds of the playing area. Mark with lines. Sorrow had lined his face. Persuasive but insincere talk that is usually intended to deceive or impress. Let me show you my etchings as a rather worn line. Reinforce with fabric. Lined books are more enduring. Something, as a cord or rope, that is long and thin and flexible. A washing line. Text consisting of a row of words written across a page or computer screen. The letter consisted of 3 short lines. A specific piece of work required to be done as a duty or for a specific fee. Estimates of the city's loss on that job ranged as high as $1 million. A crime, especially a robbery. The gang pulled off a bank job in St. Louis. Invest at a risk. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. Arranged for contracted work to be done by others. A state of difficulty that needs to be resolved. It is always a job to contact him. A book in the Old Testament containing Job's pleas to God about his afflictions and God's reply. A damaging piece of work. Dry rot did the job of destroying the barn. A Jewish hero in the Old Testament who maintained his faith in God in spite of afflictions that tested him. An object worked on, a result produced by working. He held the job in his left hand and worked on it with his right. Any long-suffering person who withstands affliction without despairing. A workplace, as in the expression, on the job. Computer science, a program application that may consist of several steps but is a single logical unit. Profit privately from public office and official business. The performance of a piece of work. She did an outstanding job as Ophelia. The responsibility to do something. It is their job to print the truth. Work occasionally. As a student, I jobbed during the semester breaks. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. The act of occupying or taking possession of a building. Occupation of a building without a certificate of occupancy is illegal. The control of a country by military forces of a foreign power. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. Any activity that occupies a person's attention. He missed the bell in his occupation with the computer game. The period of time during which a place or position or nation is occupied. During the German occupation of Paris. A natural prolongation or projection from a part of an organism, either animal or plant. A bony process. A writ issued by authority of law. Usually compels the defendant's attendance in a civil suit. Failure to appear results in a default judgment against the defendant. shape, form, or improve a material. Process iron. Deliver a warrant or summons to someone. He was processed by the sheriff. A sustained phenomenon or one marked by gradual changes through a series of states. Events now in process. Institute legal proceedings against. File a suit against. He was warned that the district attorney would process him. March in a procession. They processed into the dining room. A particular course of action intended to achieve a result. It was a process of trial and error. Psychology. The performance of some composite cognitive activity. An operation that affects mental contents. The process of thinking. A mental process that you are not directly aware of. The process of denial. Subject to a process or treatment, with the aim of readying for some purpose, improving, or remedying a condition. Process cheese. Deal with in a routine way. Process alone. Perform mathematical and logical operations on data, according to programmed instructions in order to obtain the required information. The results of the elections were still being processed when he gave his acceptance speech. A sustained phenomenon or one marked by gradual changes through a series of states. The state of being vulnerable or exposed. His exposure to ridicule. A representation of a person or scene in the form of a print or transparent slide or in digital format. Abandoning without shelter or protection, as by leaving an infant out in the open. Aspect resulting from the direction a building or window faces. The studio had a northern exposure. Presentation to view in an open or public manner. The exposure of his anger was shocking. The act of exposing film to light. The act of subjecting someone to an influencing experience. She denounced the exposure of children to pornography. The disclosure of something secret. They feared exposure of their campaign plans. The intensity of light falling on a photographic film or plate. He used the wrong exposure. Vulnerability to the elements, to the action of heat or cold or wind or rain. Exposure to the weather. The act of making a film. The act of making a film. The act of making a film. The process of making a radiograph. Producing an image on a radio-sensitive surface by radiation other than visible light. Photography that uses other kinds of radiation than visible light. Photography using a telephoto lens. Transmission and reproduction of photographs and charts and pictures over a distance. Forming an image by the action of light on a specially coated charged plate. The latent image is developed with powders that adhere only to electrically charged areas. Edge enhancement is intrinsic in xerography. A photographic method that stores the image digitally for later reproduction. Process for producing permanent prints in a carbon pigment. An exact copy or reproduction. Process for producing permanent prints in a carbon pigment. The process of capturing and converting and storing video images for use by a computer. The process of making a radiograph. Producing an image on a radio-sensitive surface by radiation other than visible light. The act of systematically moving a finely focused beam of light or electrons over a surface in order to produce an image of it for analysis or transmission. The process of translating photographs into a digital form that can be recognized by a computer. A process for identifying minerals or crystals. A small rod is coated with a powdered form of the substance and subjected to suitably modified X-rays. The pattern of diffracted rings is used for identification. A process for identifying minerals or crystals. A small rod is coated with a powdered form of the substance and subjected to suitably modified X-rays. The pattern of diffracted rings is used for identification. A process for identifying minerals or crystals. A small rod is coated with a powdered form of the substance and subjected to suitably modified X-rays. The pattern of diffracted rings is used for identification. The process whereby printing surfaces, plates or cylinders, are produced by photographic methods. The process whereby printing surfaces, plates or cylinders, are produced by photographic methods. Photomechanics revolutionized the practice of printing. The technique of using photomechanical methods to make photographs into plates for printing. The process of producing pictures in contrasting colors that appear three-dimensional when superimposed and viewed through spectacles with one red and one green lens. A former photographic method that used a glass plate coated with a light-sensitive gelatinous emulsion.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.